of letters to approved scientists is to facilitate one-on-one connections to humanize STEM professionals, demystify STEM career pathways, and inspire all students to explore a future in STEM.
We thought we could share some interesting facts with you about LPS. Last year, over 24,000 LPS letters were exchanged and over 3,000 students were matched with a STEM pen pal. While many students received letters from the United States, letters also came from 32 countries, including Australia, Ecuador, South Korea, Nepal, and Sweden.
I'm going to be talking about how the match card works. I chose this part because I really like how you can see where your pen pal works, lives, and what they do in their free time. Once you get your match card, you can see how amazing it is to see where your pen pal is. There's a lot of things that you and your pen pal could have in common. Mine last year and this year both like watching sports and TV. Sometimes they could have very interesting jobs. Like mine is a marine biologist. They study invertebrates, animals with no backbones. Some mentioned are ribbon worms, crabs, and sea urchins. You can also see where they live and where they work. My pen pal works at Utah at Weber State University.
It is also fun to meet someone who's like you. We take a survey and match up with someone who likes the same things. And last year, I had the perfect match.
My scientist Alyssa really likes sports, so do I. My scientist studies extreme weather events like hurricanes. Also, she is focusing on oceans.
I mean, writing specifically for me, I really like it. And the process of writing is pretty fun to me. Personally, I like learning how to meet deadlines and not procrastinate. We also learn proper grammar and obviously science. For example, this year my scientist does neuroscience and I'm interested in studying neuroscience when I'm older.
Once everyone has finished writing their letter, we mail them out and wait for our pen pals' letters to arrive. When our teacher receives every letter from our pen pals, we have a letter opening day. Letter opening day is always the best.
LPS means a lot to me because you get to meet a scientist and you can learn about stuff you probably haven't heard of. For example, my scientist works with DNA sequencing, and that is something new for me.
And when we get our letters, it's such a fun time during the letter opening days. Everyone gets to see what our pen pals wrote for us. Some people even got big boxes, socks, stickers, and other stuff too. So that's something to hope for.
It's an amazing program. I recommend it to teachers because it's an enjoyable program for kids and they can express their knowledge to their scientists and the students can learn a lot. To clarify, my scientists said they work with multiomics and DNA sequencing, and when I searched it up, it looked very complex. In closing, it's a lot of work, but in the end, it's worth every second. This program is mentally preparing me for my future job in STEM, specifically a dental hygienist.
I would definitely recommend this program to other teachers. It's super nice for the class and teachers to see how the students' writing improves throughout the year, and it's generally fun. It is also amazing for teachers because it builds an excitement around science, and it's inspiring to see students writing paragraph after paragraph to their pen pals. I want to say thank you, Mrs. Trzynski. I loved this program last year, and I'm thankful I had the chance to participate again. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and thank you all for listening and being here.
Do you have any questions for us about our LPS experience?
Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
I don't have a question, but I just want to congratulate you on your thought out presentation. When you said your letter opening day, it's like Christmas, it sounds like, right? I would like to be there one day when you guys have your day because it just seems like you guys have an amazing experience with this program. And I hope that, I see a lot of principals in the audience. I hope that they hear that you guys have a good time with this, but it's a very learning experience. And writing is sometimes can be very intimidating, but with this, it's a very, it seems like it's very, makes it very easy, but it's very fun. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here, and thank you to your parents for bringing me here, because it means a lot for you to come here, and I know it's not easy. So congratulations, and thank you, Mr. Kuzinski, for bringing this, or having this program, because I know it takes a lot of work, but it's a very meaningful program. So I appreciate that. So, and you will definitely use it as you grow older. So thank you so much.
Trustee Sarmiento.
I have a question. I'd like to know, you said that you have received some things from your pen pals in the past. What was the favorite item that you received from them?
So in sixth grade, in the sixth and fifth graders haven't received their letters yet, and we haven't gotten like the stuff yet. But in the past, mine was stickers, and one of my friend Angel got like socks and like other stuff too.
Awesome. Anybody else?
I got stickers and a bunch of other fun stuff.
I didn't get anything, but I did get some fun pictures, and my pen pal last year did recommend me a cool song that I could practice.
Nice. Thank you.
Dr. Brady.
Sorry, I was just curious, whose pen pal lives the farthest away from Las Palmas?
Probably mine last year because last year in fifth grade, my scientist was in England, in the United Kingdom.
Nice. And then I did have one more question. Is it okay? So, out of all the kinds of writing you do in class, what type of writing do you like the most? Do you like narrative writing or you write stories? Do you like opinion writing where you get to express your opinion on something? Do you like the letter writing that you're doing for a purpose to a scientist or something I didn't mention?
I think I like opinion writing because I like how I can express my opinions.
I also like opinionative writing too, and sometimes narrative too.
I like our letter writing because you can express yourself in your writing and you can like explain what you learned to them.
Trustee Lopez.
Well, thank you so much, students, for being here and sharing this program. It sounds really amazing, and I really enjoy hearing that you're connecting with them not only on the STEM level, but the personal level and seeing yourselves, what that would look like for your future. So on behalf of the board, I would like to present to you a small gift that maybe you can share with your STEM about you're presenting here today. So when I call your name, come up, and then you're gonna go in the middle. Mia Mari. Josh Nepomuceno. Amy Kawatao. Zoe Hernandez.
Thank you so much for coming. We always like to point out that one of the stories in that book is by Magdalena Pena, who was a student at National School District. So, just fun. All right. Item 5B is to recognize Genesis Baza, Las Palmas School as a National School District in Sync volunteer. Again, Principal.
Thank you. If I can invite Ms. Basak to come on up and join me. Good evening, Governing Board and Executive Cabinet. I am, again, Berenice Walker, the principal at Las Palmas Elementary. And I am super excited to present to you and recognize Ms. Genesis Baza as the National School District in Sync volunteer for the month. So I would like to take us back to about 4 years ago when I first became principal at Las Palmas. As I often still do, I stand outside the school gates chatting with parents at dismissal, and I quickly noticed that Miss Genesis always wore a hat, different kinds of hats, but there was one in particular that I really admired. As a lover of the outdoors and being out of the sun, I approached her, and I know how important sun protection is also, so I approached her and struck up a conversation about her wide-brimmed hat, this multicolored, beautiful hat. And Genesis was so kind that without my even asking, she later took the time to email me once she got home, so she showed me the link so that I could get one myself. So I have the same one, still sitting in my office. So I still wear it. It's one of my favorites. If you visited me in my office, you've probably seen it behind the door because it's hanging there ready for supervision across campus. And I share this I share this story for two reasons. First, it does reflect Genesis's thoughtfulness and generosity. So she did go out of her way to help and share for others. But secondly, it truly does reflect and represents the many hats that she herself wears, both literally and figuratively. So Genesis is not only a proud parent of the two sweet girls that are over there, Las Palmas students, she is also a parent representative on our school site council. She volunteers in the morning running club. She is the newly elected treasurer for the Las Palmas PTA. She also attends Coffee with Families, and she attends our ELAC meetings, she attends our PTA meetings, she attends all of the meetings, and every time that we call for volunteers, she is there. Whether it's a field trip for her children, whether it's the kids' farmers market, or a field day across our campus, she shows up with enthusiasm and a positive spirit. She's never afraid to roll up her sleeves and to help out. So, however, what truly stands out about Genesis is not just her involvement, but it is her quiet strength and that insight that she brings to the space that she comes into. So she encourages us to think differently. She pushes the boundaries. She offers new perspectives and always is keeping what's best for the students at the center of our decisions. She has ideas on how to bring art and creativity across our campus. She is in sync with setting our school goals and helping us create that vision, helping us achieve great things, not just for our students, but through collaboration with our staff and advocacy and leadership. Genesis is a fierce advocate for parent engagement and building a positive collaborative community between families and our school. So thank you, Genesis, for all that you have done and continue to do for Las Palmas. We are grateful for the many hats that you do wear and the heart that you bring with each one. Thank you.
Good afternoon. To me, it's an honor, a great honor, to be able to present this award to Genesis Baza, because to be able to go and volunteer every day to the school takes a lot. It has a passion in her to be able to come up with these great ideas and help the parents and help the children. And I know that all the teachers, educators, and especially our principal here is very glad to have her there, as you heard, what a wonderful person she is. And on behalf of the board and our superintendent, Dr. Brady, we would like to present you with the Volunteer of the Month. And I just want you to know that Las Palmas School was a favorite school of mine too. My grandchildren went there, and I was also a school site council and treasurer of the PTA, everything you do for a national school board. So here we are. And we're gonna give her this. Make sure that she drinks water. We want her to be dehydrated. Yeah, her family. Come on, girls.
She doesn't like it. Oops, sorry.
I have other daughters. You can stand over here, honey.
Okay.
And the dad? Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Item 5C is to introduce and welcome the new employees. Dr. Kevin?
I have the pleasure of introducing and welcoming our new employees. Today we have one RSVP and two that couldn't make it. So after I call up the first new employee, I'll talk about the ones that couldn't make it tonight. But first I'd like to call up Polly Walsham, Resource Specialist Program District Office. Come on up. Ms. Walsham has over a year experience as a special education teacher in the Lakeside Union School District. She holds a bachelor's degree in business administration and fashion marketing from American College, as well as a master's degree in education and physical education from the University of Phoenix. Welcome, Polly. Our next new employee could not make it tonight, but her name is Eugenia Salazar, impact teacher at Rancho de la Nacion. Ms. Salazar has over a year of teaching experience. She holds a bachelor's degree in liberal studies and a master's degree in dual language education policy studies from San Diego State University. Welcome, Eugenia. And our last new employee is Carla Gonzalez, office technician, Palmer Way School. Ms. Gonzalez has over 4 years of administrative experience and is studying criminal justice at San Diego Community College. Welcome, Carla. And welcome to all of our new employees.
All right, this is the point at which we remind those of you who might have homework that if you need to go, it is absolutely okay with us, but if you would like to stay, we would love to have you. So, it's up to you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. All right. Item 6 is public communications. Public communication provides the public an opportunity to address the board regarding an item on the agenda or other topic. Anyone wishing to address the board shall submit a request for oral communications card. Cards are available near the entrance to the boardroom and are to be submitted to the recording secretary. A member of the public who wishes to address the board on any such matter is limited to 3 minutes for one matter, up to a maximum of 5 minutes for all closed and open session matters. There shall be a limit of 20 minutes for any matter unless such time limit is waived by a majority vote of the board. Members of the public may not yield any time to other speakers. No board action can be taken. I currently have 2 cards. Are there any others at this point? Okay, thank you. All right. I have Glenn Mull first and Priscilla Magana second. So Glenn, please. Thank you. There is a timer just in case.
Let me open.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, it's.
Started?
It is over here, but
Okay.
no, it hasn't started yet. Just letting you know we did it.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
Good, all right. Good evening, my name is Glenn Moe. I am the father of Layla and Natalia Moe. Was a kindergarten student at Olivewood in the special needs K-3 classroom. This class is made up of students that need special treatment for all sorts of disabilities. Recently, we were made aware of serious accusations of misconduct by the teacher, Lisa Bandria. Due to the ongoing investigation, I'm not going into specifics, but I'm pretty sure that the district knows, right? I'm speaking tonight to make sure that the voices of these students are heard, as they cannot speak up for themselves. I just want to make sure that the National School District is taking all necessary actions to make sure that due diligence is conducted properly, fairly, and with all the proper facts provided to all parties. I would like to make sure that these silent voices of these students are not ignored. I would also like to make sure that until the investigation is properly concluded, that Ms. Bandria is not reassigned to her classroom, as that creates a lot of frustration, confusion, and overall uneasiness on our families. I also would like to mention to make sure that no retaliation of any sorts happens to any of the staff members at Olivewood that did their proper duty to let parents know this most concerning issue. I do hope the National School District upholds their duty to preserve a beautiful school experience for all students within the district, regardless of whether they have disabilities or not. And I do praise the sub, Ms. Vega. I would hope that you would consider making her a permanent part of that classroom. I do know that she's trying to get her certifications. So if there's any way that she could stay to fall in line with consistency with these kids, it would be a great benefit for these kids. So thank you for your time today and hearing me out as a parent and advocate for those who are unable to speak for themselves. Thank you.
Mr. Bowen will make sure staff follows up with you. Ms. McDonald.
Good evening, school board. Hi, my name is Priscilla Magaña. I'm a parent of 2 students at Las Palmas. And I'm just asking the school board to review the posting of the UCP policy and ensure it is visible in areas where parents and students have access to this policy. That's it.
Thank you. Same thing. We'll have somebody get a hold of you on staff, appropriate staff, and reach out to you. Thank you. Any others? Just making sure. Okay. Item 7, agenda. May I have, 7A, to accept the agenda, may I have a motion?
Second.
Okay. Then I have a motion to accept by trustee Bencourt Castaneda with a second by trustee Lopez. Please vote. All right. Item 8 is to approve the consent agenda routine items of business. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon in one action by the board. It is understood that the superintendent has recommended approval for these items. There will be no discussion prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent agenda. All items approved by the board will be deemed considered in full and adopted as recommended. Do I have a motion? Okay. Then I have a motion by trustee Bettencourt Castiel with a second by trustee Lopez. Please vote. Item 9 is general functions. 9A is discussion and possible action on the selection of a superintendent search. So if you can bear with me for a minute. I've been thinking. As we begin this process, we as a board want to honor the work and efforts of our current superintendent, Dr. Leangela Brady, as well as the team who are working alongside her. However, this is a weird process. We are going to be discussing the steps toward hiring a new superintendent, which will take place outside of staff roles. What I mean by that is this: the board will begin tonight in looking towards our next superintendent and may at times ask questions of our current team. But in large part, this work should be done by an outside group, not them. That does a few things. One, it allows the board to move forward, considering community, family, and staff thoughts and priorities that may be new or different when considering a new superintendent. Two, it keeps the roles of current staff separate in a way that allows them to continue their work for the district while providing necessary information as needed. Three, it will hopefully display a level of integrity and transparency in the superintendent selection process that people know and see the open behavior and actions of the board in these next months. As to the process, I have had a few discussions with other districts' board members just to hear how they handled their selection process. In some ways, it truly seems like a free-for-all, as their approaches are vastly different. What did come out of the discussions that I think could be helpful to us are an established group to oversee the search process rather than self-handling by the board or HR. A discussion of whether it should be an area, regional, state, or national search. Community input, including staff, community, families, and board. Community input about priorities and needs. Board parameters for the search. So absolute yeses that we have, absolute nos, hoping fors, those types of things. Tonight is a process discussion for the next steps, not a people discussion. Just for us to be aware, we aren't going to be discussing specific individuals from the dais. That could be everything from a FERPA violation at this point, who knows, to people are in current jobs. You know, we have to be attentive to those things. I would like to start tonight by suggesting a small steering committee. It would have to be 2 board members, we're not allowed 3, to look into consultant companies who handle this process. This would include the board establishing some parameters for the companies, the 2 members contacting and receiving proposals from a minimum of 5, I would think. Comparing and vetting those companies to bring back 3 to 5 to the board for discussion and selection. It could include a presentation by each of those vetted at an upcoming board meeting where the board would be able to ask questions appropriate to the selection process. Again, we're just talking about selecting a company to help us at this point. I am talking about that. We're keeping tonight's focus tight so as to move forward in the process and not get bogged down in the weeds. We will have many discussions about our hopes for a superintendent, about projected salary, about district goals, about needs. We will have plenty of those discussions. We owe that to our community. Tonight is not the night for all of that. Tonight is just about the next step, which is finding an effective and trustworthy organization to assist us in this process. Trustee Sarmiento, you're lit. You are lit, is what I said. No, actually, it's supposed to be a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
I would simply like to offer to participate in that group.
Trustee Lopez.
Is there a projected timeline of when the steering committee will meet and then when it would come to us as a board for the considerations for the proposal?
Excellent question. Let's-
Well, for a steering committee to bring, because this is my brain. We want to get a group to help us move forward. Not to do, like, this is not that we would have to search stuff in place already, but just find a group. And so, and I agree with, like, I think the months kind of caught me off guard, but I think that's the whole thing. Part of what I'm thinking is that we want to get this started sooner than later.
I apologize for turning my back on you. I'm just gonna say that quickly and still do it.
Because we want to get started, we want to have best choices, and so we need to get a move on the process. It would be lovely if we could do it before winter break and have something in place before winter break, but that requires us to get a move on. Trustee Betancourt Castaneda.
Well, I would also like to volunteer to be on the steering committee, and we're gonna have tons of that. Trustee Sarmiento request to be on there, but, we're taking volunteers already, but, I know it's part of the. It has to be last time, but we're good with that.
Okay. You can't hear us? Oh,
No,
you
not
can't
at
hear
all.
her or us?
Sorry, I didn't have my mic. We didn't hear anything.
Okay.
I would also like to be a part of that steering committee. I didn't know that we were taking volunteers. I was able to click my button, lock and go.
And Trustee Lopez?
I do not want to be part of the committee, but I would like to have it come to us if possible by the organizational meeting December 10th. Is that a doable timeline to have those proposals or then we decide who to go with? Or will the steering committee decide who to go with? No, right? That's not it.
Well, but see, this was just again, you were subjected to it last week, was my brain on stuff. And my thought, and actually like some of the wisdom that was shared with me was this idea of the steering committee screen.
What is that meaning?
Well, search firms, so that you could actually do a bit of a look, like if we came back and said, these are some of the things we would want from a search firm. You guys actually do the looking for and then checking what information we get back and bring back, say maybe we get 7 or 8 that say, hey, yes, we'd be interested in helping you with this process. And you actually narrow it down. Maybe we have a history with one that has worked. Maybe we have a history with one that hasn't. Maybe we have maybe talked to, I don't know, Chula Vista or San Ysidro, and they're like, this one was a train wreck. And we could, some of that vetting that would then narrow it down for us, and you bring those back to us, and we have a time that they present to us. So, yes,
It's possible by December 10 to
I
have.
would think so.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'll clear my calendar.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. So, are we all right with that? Anything else that you would like to discuss that has to do with this beginning step process? Trustee Avalos.
I guess once you look up the company or the organization is going to be doing this, you will be having meetings with us. so that we can hear the company that you have chosen, and so we have a right to know that.
We would be vetting them to bring forward a
Right,
review
exactly.
for the board to
Vote on,
we wouldn't choose a, we wouldn't be choosing a specific one. We would be bringing forward several for the whole board to decide on, correct?
From what yes, that would be the idea in front, because this is, now this is where I look this way. Because it's a service, we can do this differently, a little bit differently, correct? It's not it's not necessarily a lowest bid requirement because somebody may offer more.
Thank you. And so that's an absolutely perfect question. And a search firm would be something that we would qualify as a professional service. And certainly one potential procurement method for the board could be to do a request for proposal from several search firms and have them present information. Absolutely. At the same time, though, there's no requirement that that be the way or the manner in which the board selects a professional service. You have the discretion to make a selection independently with or without consideration of a wide number. And there's something in between as well, where you could still conduct an interview for several search firms and select from there. So you have wide discretion to perform any one of these different procurement methods for that type of service.
First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Brady for giving us an ample amount of time to be able to conduct the search, find an agreeable search firm to work with us. Because as we know, there are several superintendents countywide who have said that they intend to retire, and we don't want to be the odd man out in the last board that's selecting somebody after everyone has already weeded through the, I'd like to say. So thank you for that, and it shows me that obviously you have the students' best interests at heart, and I appreciate that. So saying such, let's go forward. If we can get something together before December, like you say, maybe we can get the search firms to come forward at our December meeting.
That's gonna be a doozy of a meeting.
Right, it's not actually grand, but just a recommendation so that we can proceed. Thank you.
All right, any of the other, like I said, some of these, establish a group to oversee search process, discussion of area, regional, state, or national search, that can be something that, do we want, would that be a discussion now to, as far as requests for proposal, that we would want somebody like to ask them for a range, or do we wait on that? Because I don't know.
And to be very frank, I don't know either. I think it depends really on what the board would like to see done. I'm not sure entirely how much research that you have done, or if you have a list of several in mind and you're not sure, or maybe there's one that you've already, considered and think that that would be the best one to go with. So if, for example, you wanted to complete a request for proposal, I will tell you that it would take some time to develop the RFP documents, and then of course we would post that and notify a number of different firms, search firms, that we have an RFP on our website. Typically, it would take them perhaps 2 to 3 weeks to respond, at which you would then be opening their responses and making a determination at that time. Reference checks could be part of such, such a process, and so could interview be part of such a process if you want it. It really is up to you.
All right, well, I apologize for looking at my phone, but I'm looking for my calendar. So tonight's the 22nd. You said it would take a little bit of time to work together a request for proposal. Between now and Thanksgiving, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then there are 3 weeks after between Thanksgiving and winter break. So
The only additional thing I would say is often when we're conducting RFPs, sometimes we factor in holiday weeks and that staff will be out. It would be difficult to respond. Sometimes it would be normal for you to provide an additional week, for example, if one of your several weeks for them to respond is a holiday week. Just a thought.
because the 10th is actually a week less, a week and a half less. So basically, sorry, Milan has popped into my head. Hustle Those Honey Buns is actually what popped in. Sounds like, yeah, we definitely need to get a move on. So, yes, please.
So, just to clarify with Dr. Cochran, that's assuming if the board wanted to do a full request for proposal, but I think what I heard you say, and a little bit of what President Skate said with the Wild Wild West, it doesn't have to be the full request for proposal, but some sort of a proposal where you solicit or invite groups to give you a proposal of sorts, and maybe making a list of the things that are important to you, like, we'd like to know the cost, we'd like to know the timeline, we'd like to know what other searches you've done, we'd like you to include some letters of reference, things like that, and maybe each of you with your connections to other board members in your districts could reach out and let the steering committee know these are some firms that we would like you to know the proposal to speed up that process. And of course, then it could get posted to our website. Anybody who's looking and knows of the announcement. Would that be something that would be also?
Absolutely, because there's no requirement, if you wanted to keep the spirit of an RFP, but maybe make it a little bit smaller, some 2 or 3 page summary rather than an RFP, a request for proposal packet that goes out, might elicit a faster response back to you. And of course, you'd be encouraged to do that.
And then the board could receive it on their own, right? They could get mailed, we could just save their mail, and the steering committee could open that.
Certainly. So typically, we would probably collect them for you here at the district, and then the steering committee members would pick up the packets, still sealed, and then be able to conduct their business.
All right, because I was writing while they were talking. So cost, timeline, references. One of the things I'm thinking about is what is it? For instance, what's their experience with collecting community input? I would hope that they had some manner in which they either surveyed or town halled or something, so that we can get effective information from our employees and staff, but our parents and from our families. So that would be for me one of the things. And something I was wondering, because I've been thinking about this community priorities and needs part. We have and I don't know if there's crossover, that's the thing. We did our community schools inventory surveys. I'm not remembering off the top of my head, because surveys tailor questions for particular reasons. But I'm not sure if there's something in there that might not share community priorities with us, where we wouldn't have to might not have to necessarily regenerate that survey, knowing that we are also still going to be asking, or I would like to still ask our community for input. So, but it would give us maybe a base for some thoughts and ideas of our community's concerns. And go ahead.
That's a great idea, and that's something that whoever you select to assist you can help whittle that down. You can say, well, we have this, would that be appropriate? All you have to tell them is in some way you would like to hear from the community, and then they'll advise you as to some of the best ways that they've seen to do that. And then at that time, you would work with them in a meeting like this to let them know how you want them to do that.
Trustee Sarmiento.
Thank you. I'd just like to add that I participated in 3 superintendent searches in the past, and something we would want to consider, obviously, is expanse you had brought up about nationwide searches. past history has proven that those are way more expensive, because obviously they're going nationwide, so something that we would need to consider. But also two, I can pull up my notes on our last search, and I can't believe it's been 10 years. And the search firm that we used at that time gave us some really good parameters to use that would be helpful.
One of the things that I had thought of was checking my wording. Well, we often will have people who have been a part of you at some point in time, who move on from you. I've had superintendents who have done that and have done other things. I've had assistant superintendents who have done that and done other things. I've had principals. You know, I've had various layers of people who have gone on to do other things. I kind of, for me, it's a caution, because who we are isn't who we were, not who we necessarily want to be. I don't know, with looking towards roots. And I don't know who all works for places and runs places, so I don't know, but that would be one of my, how can we work to make sure we are coming across as clear and transparent without influences as possible? That makes sense for, it looks like two people on the street.
It's absolutely possible.
Okay, because I have two going once. So, if no one else is interested in being on the steering committee, I do not feel like I could adequately fit that in at this time, especially with the summertime.
So you're asking for another person?
You know, ma'am, now we have two, and so we only need two, we can't make it three because then.
No, I thought you were asking for.
Nope, I'm just making sure all voices have been heard. So, thank you, trustee Sarmiento, thank you, trustee Benford, and any other people being willing. Nope, I do not want to switch. Like I said, anything else that is a concern or that we would want to add to this, while as we. No, I can't. I truly cannot. It's not reasonable, that I would not be respecting, honestly, I wouldn't be respecting what it should require. Trustee Lopez.
So we'll be talking about our priorities as a board and what we're looking for after we've selected the firm, correct? Just to confirm. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. And it gives us some time to hear from people and kind of process that a little bit, I think. I don't want to feel rushed to make statements and then turn around and realize that's not the best. So, yes, ma'am. Trustee Sarmiento.
Just my question is, who will be drawing up the RFPs? I know I'm not capable of putting stuff like that together, but
I
I'm
know.
sure we'll be using with someone from staff.
Yeah, and there are some out there for us to see, like samples from other places that have been sent. I mean, we have some from this school year even that,
But who will be drawing that up?
I guess it depends on the complexities. If you need assistance, we'll find somebody to help you with that.
all right. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions on this?
So, okay. Samantha and I will schedule something for us to meet together, so that way we can
Get that RFP fast and
well, really ASAP.
yes, please. All right, thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. Dr. Brady.
And of course, if you want to mail anything, we can do all of the mailing for you. We can post on our website. We can send it out through all of our channels as well as all of the board channels. We can do that as well.
All right. Item 10, educational services. Item 10A, presentation on California assessment of student performance and progress and English language proficiency assessments for California results. Dr. Filion. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much and good evening. Thank you, Board President Gates and governing board members, Dr. Brady and Executive Cabinet. This evening, I will be providing an overview of our student academic achievement results for the 24-25 school year. Our students annually engage in multiple summative assessment measures. And while we acknowledge these results are simply a snapshot of where they are in that moment of time, this information is important, and we're always looking towards using that information to evaluate our actions and really assess the impact of the work that we're doing. Always looking to improve the experiences we offer for our students. We know that second only to student safety, academic achievement is a top priority for you, the governing board, and we wanted to make sure that we were giving this topic the proper time and attention that it merits. And so I will be sharing a lot of information this evening. We have a lot of data charts for you today. But as I go through the slides, again, that you have a copy of all of the slides for your own reference. I'll try to move through them briefly, really just highlighting some key takeaways. Also, before I move forward, I did want to say that the information that I'm sharing tonight is really reflective of the efforts of so many people across the organization. So before we start, I just want to recognize, of course, our dedicated teachers and support staff who directly work with our students in their classrooms on a daily basis. And I also would like to acknowledge our principals who are here this evening, who lead this work at their school sites. Also, I'd like to acknowledge our Ed Services team and especially Lisette Blanchette, who worked so many hours. She does deserve a round of applause, really in helping to pull the data and just really help organize it in a really quite a beautiful way, just making it more easily accessible and understandable for all of us. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started and begin really just by setting the stage with some demographic information here. These numbers are all from last year and just kind of give us context for where we were at. Here in National, our enrollment last year was approximately 3,967 students. Of those students, we have about 48% of our students that are English learners, about 78% who qualify for free and reduced price meals or are socioeconomically disadvantaged. Unduplicated pupil count there refers to students who are either English learners, that they qualify for free and reduced meals, or they're homeless or foster youth. So as you can see that in National, we have about 90% of our students who fall into one or more of those categories. This really signals to us that we serve students with various needs, but also with so many strengths and so much potential. And that's really what drives our work. We know that teaching and learning is complex, but there's a lot to celebrate this evening as we see that our students are progressing and that they're really on the right track. And so we'll go ahead and begin by talking about our LPAC assessment, our English Language Proficiency Assessment. And that's a measure that really is given annually to any student who is identified as learning English. And it measures the progress towards their language acquisition. It's also a data point that we use in the reclassification process. And so again, just for your reference, here you can see the number of students who took the annual LPAC assessment, and of those students, those who scored at a level 4, which is kind of the target score there, and those who met reclass criteria. So out of those students who took the assessment, you can see there that about 15% of them, of those students, scored at level 4. So on this slide, just to orient you, this data includes grade level information, where the gold is indicative of level 1. So that's where their language is just beginning to develop. And the blue on the right side there is the target score, demonstrating that their language level is well developed. At the top of the slide there, you can see that we've included district data comparing our 2024 results with last year's 2025 results. So you can see that we increased the number of, we increased the number of level 4 students by 3.3. So that's good solid growth there. You can also see that the data by grade level, when you look at the blue, you can see the trend there that more students are becoming proficient as they go up through the grades. The numbers to the far right of each grade level row indicates the comparison from 2024, so it shows the change that they've made. And again, progress can be seen by our 6th grade students there with about a 9% increase, first graders with about a 4% increase. So again, a focus on ELD instruction and academic vocabulary, those are ongoing areas that we are continuing to develop. They've been working on that, and all of our sites continue to look at those practices to support language development for our students. On this slide, we show our data here by overall performance by school. And at the bottom of each school's bar graph there, you can see their percentage of growth. So additionally, on this slide and on subsequent slides, you're going to see that blue arrow that goes through the middle, and that shows the overall performance for national. And that's for your reference, as well as the gold line, which shows the performance level for California. So you can see here that all of our schools have improved, shown improvement over the previous year, but also what you can see that nationals performance was over 3.5 times the rate of progress of California. So that's a significant achievement for our national students. Now on this, as we reflect on our work, we know that it's important to be able to compare our district to other similar districts. So this slide is actually printed for you in your packet for your reference so that you can pull that out. And really the idea here is to be able to take a look at what is it that makes a district similar to ours. And there's some specific factors that are considered here. So what you can see is that when we look at similar districts, we want to see that they have a similar size as well as their composition. So we're really looking at the percentages that are close to national with English learners, but not only with our English learners, but also students who qualify for free and reduced programming, as well as our unduplicated pupil counts. So here what you see is that the schools that are closer to the top of the page, kind of above the line there, those are schools that are truly similar to national in all of those categories. So their similarity index is about 1.8 or less. So that's just kind of showing this far right piece. We've included other additional districts for your reference. These are some neighboring districts that we talk about or hear about. While those aren't necessarily as similar, we did want to include them again for your reference. And so here, as we think about our LPAC performance, this is really just another way of taking a look at the information when we compare it to other similar districts. And again, that you can see that out of our schools, we outperformed 15 out of 18 districts that are similar to national. So moving forward, as we go on, we know that our students in kinder through second grade don't take the CASP, but we did want to make sure that we're sharing their data as well. And this is another measure that we use to look at the efforts and kind of monitor the progress of students at those younger grade levels, because we know that how they do in the younger grades will impact how they do in the upper grades as well. So we're going to start looking at reading. And this slide shows our iReady reading data for grades K1 and 2. So on this slide, again, you can take a look at that blue area. That's the target range of being early on or above grade level. And we see a strong start in kindergarten with first and second grade kind of performing similarly. This slide also indicates in the gold lettering there the change from the prior year. And again, you can see that in first grade, there was an increase of about 3%. So again, we know that there are many variables that impact academic progress, and we have had and will continue to maintain a focus on early literacy. That continues the work around providing professional development with ECRI for our teachers in grades K2, as well as implementing the new reading screener. That will also help us in identifying our struggling students. And again, we're trying to review all of the systems that we have at our schools to ensure that we're offering differentiated support for our kiddos. There's more detailed information in your packet of slides, but we did provide the data by school, by grade level. So there's kindergarten that will be in there for you to look at. There's first grade that's in there for you to reference, as well as second grade for you to take a look at. All right, so we're going to move on to our CASP language arts performance. And so what we are going to be discussing here is the overall district data for CASP in the area of language arts. And so you can see here the growth by 3.7% when comparing the 2024 to 2025 results. You can also see on this slide grade level performance levels, again, showing progress by increasing the number of students who met or exceeded standards, and then again, the groups decreasing who did not meet standards. This slide again shows our ELA performances by school now. And again, you could take a look and see that 8 out of 10 of our schools showed improvement from the year prior. You can also again see that gold arrow that indicates California's performance and their rate of growth. And what we also see is that 6 out of 10 of our schools are growing at a faster rate than that of California. And National District had 6 out of 10 schools, again, growing faster than that rate. And we nearly doubled their rate of growth. California's rate of growth. We did want to provide some of that information by grade level. So you have access here to look at grade 3. We even have some of our schools outperforming California there. When you take a look at grade 3, grade 4, we also are maintaining with 2 schools there. Grade 5 and grade 6. And for grade 6, we can see how that gap between California's performance level and nationals is really starting to close as we go up through the grades. The general trend of students progressing over time as their learning builds upon the previous grade levels. And this is important data that we like to dig into on our own. We probably spend far too much time kind of having those conversations, and we enjoy getting into that though, so that we can really best inform our practices. On this slide then, as we're taking a look at the similar district comparison. So as we mentioned, and you can reference your sheet again that I had given you, but what this now shows is the highlighted in gold over on the right, that shows the districts that National outperformed. So that's something to take a look at. Again, very positive news there. And then when we take a look at this, it's just another way of looking at the data. You can see here how 12 out of 18, that National outperformed 12 out of 18 similar districts in CAS and language arts. We did also want to take a look at some subgroup data. And while we saw growth on the LPAC for these students, for our English learners, we also know that it takes time to acquire the language. So for CAS, which is assessing grade level standards, this slide shows some plateaued progress here. But again, this is a continued area of focus for us as we really want to see our students' growth accelerate. Now, we did want to also include information about our reclassified students because these students really were English learner students. So these are students that met criteria, and when they meet criteria, they're pulled out of that group. But it is an important note to take a look at the performance of these students. And again, we can see here that really these students are performing and see their high achievement levels as well as their positive growth overall, and with some significant gains in 5th and 6th grade. And again, here's that look at the similar district comparison. The highlighted gold boxes on the right there are the districts that National outperformed. And if we look at this slide, it's just another way of looking at it, but we can see then that National outperformed 12 out of 18 similar districts for language arts for that English learner subgroup. Additionally, we did want to take a look at our data for our students with disabilities. And we know that these students have compounded identified challenges that require them to have an IEP. But here we see that this group also showed gains of 3.37% growth from the year prior. So we do just want to recognize and thank our special education staff and our general ed teachers who've been working towards closer collaboration, increasing inclusion opportunities, and really just looking at best teaching practices. And we know that there's strong leadership in that department as well. So we're grateful to their work and happy to see some positive results there as well. And so when we take a look, similarly, we compare how we did, well, what does that look like compared to other districts? So when you look at similar districts, again, the gold are the districts that we have outperformed. So when you take a look at that in this way, and you can see that National outperformed 15 out of 18 similar districts in language arts for the students with disabilities group. And so before we move on from looking at our ELA section, we did want to share some cohort performance data here. This data looks at the same group of students over the course of time to track their growth. So on this slide, you can see on the left there with the bar graphs, you could see the overall ELA proficiency change over the last 4 years. And then on the right side on the line graph, you can also see the same group of students and their performance back in 21-22 when they were in 3rd grade, and then it goes across in grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, and then this last one at grade 6 at 40.5. So what we see there, again, this is helpful data for us to reflect about what's happening there, and it's really exciting to see that great increase in 6th grade. But there's that plateau there in 4th and 5th. We want to continue to analyze that and really kind of take a look. What can we do to just make that even go even higher? So that's really amazing work, though, at all of our districts to show such great growth. And again, all of these positive results really speak to the efforts of our teachers, our teacher teams, our school principals who are working on a daily basis to support instruction. There has been a focus on using data and really having that help us make instructional decisions. We've had specific targeted literacy training for our staff, vocabulary development, and designated ELD that have all contributed to these positive results. So we're going to keep moving forward and go into math now. And so again, we want to start off by taking a look at the littles and see how they did. They don't take the task, they take the iReady. And so what we have here again for your reference is just taking a look at their results. We have kinder, first, and second grade here based on the iReady assessment. And again, it just shows how they start off in kindergarten, and then we see how in first grade, they did show an increase compared to the prior year. And we've just provided some more information for you for your reference to dig into at your own leisure at home. So we have information on grade K by school, first grade by school, and second grade by school. And again, our principal teams, our school teams spend a lot of time taking a look at that data and really trying to unpack it to best understand how to support their teacher teams. So as we take a look and move into CASP, so now students in grades 3 through 6, and again, we're taking a look at this slide, which has some overall district information. So you can see here when you compare 2024 to 2025 results, you can see a growth of 2.6% of students that are meeting or exceeding standards when we compare those 2 years. And you can also see some positive growth by grade level here for third, for fifth, and for sixth. On this slide, again, when we're showing the performance by school, you can see that we had 8 out of 10 of our schools that improved in their performance, and 7 out of 10 that actually grew faster than the state's math rate. And so what we can see here really is how national overall, their rate of growth is about 1.5 times higher or more so than the state's growth rate. And again, we're providing some grade level information for you to take a look at. And so you can see this information for third grade. We have 2 schools there that are outperforming even the California average. And again, this is an area that we want to continue to examine so that we can see the successes that are happening across our district and try to replicate those practices at our other schools as well. In fourth grade, you have 3 schools outperforming that California average. And in fifth grade, again, we have 1 school in particular, who really showed some strong growth in fifth grade. So definitely want to go spend some time and see what's happening there so we can best learn. And then in sixth grade, we continue to see that gap close and several of our schools getting closer to that California district average. And then when we take a look at that comparison to other similar districts, once again, the gold on the right shows the highlighted districts that national outperformed. And on this slide, similar information, just another way to look at it, but you can see here how national outperformed 14 of 18 similar districts in math. And again, to help us grow, we always do dig into that subgroup data. So for here, we're looking at our English learners. And once again, we see a bit of a plateau for their progress in math. And we also know that math does require a high degree of language proficiency. So supporting our students to learn and apply specific math content vocabulary is a teaching practice that many of our school teams are adopting, and we're going to continue to help support that. And for our reclassified students, for our ex-English learner students, we did want to share their progress as well. And again, really great data overall. We see high levels of math achievement in this data and growth overall of 3.49%, and specific growth in 3rd, 5th, and 6th. It's probably one of my favorite slides. And again, when we take a look at comparing to similar districts, we have several districts there that we, National is outperforming in this area. And when we look at it this way, you can see how 15 of our 18 schools outperformed similar districts in math. And again, with our students with disabilities data in the area of math, again, we see a positive change from the year prior. And again, it just really shows the efforts of our SPED staff and our students who are really moving in the right direction and making some great growth. When we take that information and compare it to other similar districts, we can see here some pretty amazing information where really all but 3 districts, National outperformed all but 3 districts in this area. And when we take a look at it like this, 15, National outperformed 15 out of 18 similar districts in math on the CASP assessment. And so again, before we move on from math, we wanted to take a look and reflect on some cohort data. So here you can see the district's overall performance over the years on the left there on the bar graphs. And then you can see that when you take a look at the cohort data, we can see where they start in 3rd grade, and then we see a dip in grade 4 and in grade 5. But then a big spike in grade 6. So really interesting data that we definitely want to dig into and really understand what does math instruction look like at those grade levels, and what can we do to best support, and what are those highlights across the district that we can learn from, and what can we just continue to work together on ensuring that really that we're seeing the maximum amount of accelerated growth for our kiddos. So then we're going to move into the CAST, and that's the science assessment, and that one is only for 5th graders that take that test. And so this slide is by school. And again, comparing to last year's performance, we do see some overall growth of 1.73. And you can also see how 5 out of 10 schools showed improvement in their science results. And 5 out of 10 schools grew faster than the state's rate. And so, overall, then National really more than doubled the state's rate of growth. And so that is good news. We also know that we have had a science focus this year. So we have lots of training that's happened across the district. That's been our focus. And it's not just learning about FOSS, but we have layered on the expectation that training includes ELD strategies, integrated ELD throughout those trainings, as well as writing. So those are things that we're kind of weaving in to the professional development around our science adoption. And so really to summarize, lots of highlights, lots of positive growth. Everything's moving in the right direction. We know that we want to continue that growth and continue that accelerated learning, but really it is lots of notable gains that we can celebrate. So we want to recognize the efforts of all of those who contributed to that with targeted training that was provided to teachers and effective instructional practices in reading and math, ELD, science, small group instruction. It's really the cumulative efforts of all that have contributed to the growth that we're able to see today. And so on this slide, again, we see that some of those highlights for language arts. You can see that national overall had nearly twice the rate of growth than the state. Our largest gain for a school was Olivewood. A little shout out to Olivewood. Schools that outperformed the state, we have 6th grade, El Tuyon, Ira Harbison, 4th grade, Palmer Way, 3rd and 4th grade, and Rancho, 3rd and 5th grade. So fantastic job to them. In the area of math, we did see overall for national, we were about 1.5 times the rate of growth that we were able to outpace them. Our largest gain in math, El Tuyon. And then schools that outperformed the state, we have some specific highlights there with Ira Harbison, 4th grade, Kimball, 4th grade, John Otis, 5th and 6th grade, Palmer Way, 3rd and 4th, and Rancho, 3rd. So shout out to them. In science, again, we did have more than 2 times the rate of growth compared to this California. Our largest gain was at Central, so shout out to Central. And we're going to continue to double down and work out in that area as we're looking to be able to outperform the state, of course. And then on LPAC, again, we had more than 3.5 times the rate of growth for our English learners on that assessment. Our largest gain was at Ira Harbison. And then schools, again, that outperformed the state, we have Central, Ira, and Kimball. So really just a lot of positive. I feel very privileged to be able to share this information with you this evening. I will say that the team really at the grade levels, at the site levels, on our principal teams, our ed services team, everyone really is so dedicated and committed to ensuring that we're doing everything we can for students. And so there's been a lot of thought and kind of planning around what type of supports we should be focused on. And really focus, I think, is a key word that we've been trying to implement this year, and we're going to continue to do so. But again, we're just kind of taking what already exists, that's been a great trajectory, and trying to capitalize on that. So we're continuing with some specific professional development for our teachers. We're really using Next Gen Math and really making sure that people feel supported in using that program, and the use of targeted lessons as a support. We have some early literacy instruction professional development that we've been offering, and that is in that ECRI area that we've been focused on. We've been really wanting to look at how we can continue supporting our teacher teams and our sites on differentiated instruction, where really we're looking at strategies of how we can ensure that we're supporting our English learners as well as our special education students, but really any student who is struggling, to be able to ensure that we're meeting their needs. I mentioned already the fall science professional development with the layered approach of it, calling out those integrated ELD strategies as well as writing, and then just ongoing district, site, and individual PD and coaching offerings to our teachers. For progress monitoring, we know we need to measure things to see how we're doing. What we shared today, that's kind of summative and kind of at the end types of data, but we want ongoing data that helps us really know what's working so we can course correct as we need. So for progress monitoring, again, we're really working with our staff to try to ensure that we're starting to use this platform of Panorama. It's a digital platform where people can put in the interventions that they're working on and what students are participating in so we can track impact. We have teacher collaboration meetings as well as staff meetings, and then again, principals who are meeting with teachers to collaborate and support. In the area specifically for student interventions, we're looking at small group instruction as a key strategy. How can we best support our teachers to have those structures in place and kind of assist with planning or kind of answer whatever those needs are. We have our language arts specialists at each site working with groups of students. Many of our sites have impact teachers as well. And in our after-school learning classes, we have been focused on reading, on ELD, as well as math. And then ongoing administrator supports. I'm really grateful to all of our administrators that are here this evening. Just kind of, I think it's important to listen to the conversations and to see their work really up here. But really, we've been working at our principal meetings, creating kind of a common dashboard, a way that we can all collaborate and share our goals and the work steps that we're doing at the sites to try to see more student progress and share those strategies with each other. We have our cabinet site visits that we get to go and walk classrooms with our principals. And then the Ed Services team has separate visits that we're implementing and visiting and walking classrooms, just talking instruction and really just to be another set of eyes and another support. I think I'll have some water now, but yes. So that really is kind of a lot of information I know, and we are always here for questions, and then all of that is for your reference also. And of course, our principals are here if there's any other specific site questions too.
Trustee Sarmiento.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you, Dr. Filia, for an enormous amount of work and as well as, where's Ms. Gwen? There you are. Thank you. Covered a lot of territory. Obviously, it took hours and hours and hours to put this together, but it sure painted a good picture as to where we're at. And I just want to thank you for all your hard work. Principals as well, for all your hard work, and thank you for all that you do.
Trustee Benford Castaneda.
Well, I would like to congratulate everybody because I was writing down so many notes, but I just couldn't keep up with all of the excitement and all of the increases and all of the outperformances. And I'm just like, oh wow, because I am so proud of everybody's hard work, and I'm gonna get all emotional, but I'm gonna try not to, because this is amazing, and thank you so much. Our children are lucky to have such amazing group of individuals as educators, as administration, as support staff, and I'm lucky to be a part of that. So keep up the momentum, keep up the hard work, and thank you. And I have to give a shout out to Dr. Kraft too, because she was part of that work. And as I know she's not here, but Dr. Filia for being here and to continue that work. But thank you everybody for being here tonight, because this is amazing to hear, because it's something to be celebrated. I know that we went through a rough patch, but now this is exciting, you know, and just to hear it, and we can honestly say that we're out of that little dip, you know, and again, thank you, and just keep up the good work, and our kids are very lucky. So thank you for being here, and you're welcome to stay for the entire meeting. But thank you again. It really truly means a lot that our kids are being led by the very best. So thank you.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes, I want to echo what my colleagues said. Congratulations to our leaders, to our teachers, our classified staff for doing this work. Thank you, Dr. Filia, for jumping in and coming on board to our district. Thank you also for showing comparable districts and not comparing us to a random district like Compton. I think this was good to see that. What you've shown really puts numbers into perspective, and it was really good to see also how we did statewide. I did want to hear a little bit about processes or systems in terms of our early students, as a K teacher myself, I did notice the gap between the iReady English and iReady Math jumped from 7% to 22, 21. So I'm just wondering if that was noted and what systems are in place to make sure that the students that we do get, we're not losing year after year, but that we're recognizing those small gaps early on so they don't widen in the future.
Absolutely. And I think that focus on early literacy and just making sure that students have those foundational skills. Those are ongoing conversations that are happening at grade levels as well as with school teams and in our principal meetings, but really making sure that we're identifying what are the needs. So from our identification process, so we have a new required reading screener that we're all using, and that's something that we're learning about, but also I think that that'll be helpful in identifying the gaps and then the next steps, right? Because that's even more important, is to know how are we going to help support those students. So that, as well as the early literacy instruction with our ECRI training, that's something that is really it's those foundational reading skills, and also being able to extend that so that once they know their letter sounds, right, we need to transfer that into reading fluency and comprehension, and so all of those building blocks of learning. So we just want to make sure that at that early level that is solid. So that comes, I think, from a lot of conversations, collaboration, whether it's our principals supporting their teachers, walking classrooms, giving instructional feedback, making sure those structures are in place.
Thank you. And something I also wrote, I know we can kind of analyze based on the data of how our dual language school is doing. And as we are expanding, I think even though it's not tested explicitly, I think I would like to know too how that compares for our students who are in dual language classrooms, how they're doing in the other new classroom in your teaching. So we kind of also see that growth and can differentiate what that looks like for them specifically.
That's a great point, and we definitely will dig into that data too.
The interesting thing about this is we used to probably say helicopter view. I think drone view is probably more important or more appropriate in this age. Because we're seeing that larger district picture or still the larger school picture. I remember when my children were still getting, I think, what was it, CSET scores, that they might stay in the same category. So I would pull out, or like that same not meeting or exceeding or whichever expectations, and I would pull out the previous years, and it would show me that they were in the same category, but they had a 32-point increase. I mean, there's a huge difference in its growth, but this doesn't let us see all of those pieces. And so, and I know that is what we break down in the classroom more so than at this level. But sometime when you have spare moments, it would possibly be lovely, which means I don't expect it to happen anytime soon, but it would be lovely to know some of that information where we turn around and, yes, a child might still be in that category of not meeting expectations. But where's their growth? And how can we celebrate those things even though the big name on top of it might not have changed? That child's still doing things.
Absolutely.
And so I that's the problem with the drone view, is that we just don't get to see those things.
Yes.
And I say it, I think every year, 4th grade is a hard year. We change from, like, we get an 8-kid boost or whatever per class. That's a lot of extra students in class. It's a lot more, like, it makes things harder. And as someone who has received truthfully hundreds of sixth graders coming to me over the years. Fourth and fifth are instrumental so that you have
Yes.
that growth. The things that fourth grade builds, fifth grade makes more complex, and sixth grade adds nuance to. But if that fourth and fifth, and so even looking at the math, seeing that bounce, on the one hand, makes you want to clench a little bit. And then I sat back and went, no, I know what that bounce is. I know it because I received it. And hundreds of kids who are working through their foundational skills until they could go, ah. And that's what we are seeing in sixth grade. Along with just phenomenal teaching from our teachers and phenomenal teaching and intervention from our aides and our ed specialists. I mean, thank you for taking the time. Thank you all for being here. But thank you most for being willing to dig into this on behalf of our kids. Dr. Brady.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to Dr. Filia for such a great comprehensive presentation. You know, you'd never know that you're new in your role this year to us. The way you presented the data as if you've been here for all the years behind it. And it's testament to the team and the work you're doing with the team every single day and being out in your classrooms to see the work being happening at the ground level. I want to back up to slide maybe 15, and I have a different version here. And just point out, yes, that one of the things that we look at as administrators is not only that top blue bar and the growth, but those bottom gold bars. And we do that for all of our schools like councils look at this data to see are less kids at the not met, because that's where that growth is that you were talking about, President Gates. And so you can see we're seeing it from 23, 24 to 24, 25, where we have less students in that gold bar at the bottom, which means less kids are not being students. So you may not have made it to that top to see that top number, but they are moving up that continuum. So that was one thing I wanted to share. The other thing, if you could go a couple, I'll tell you in just a second, 2020. Yes. So in this one, when we look at our English learners, when I say we're doing enough for English learners, or lots of English learners, but I want to shout out to Monica Benitez, the work that she's been doing with great concentration. And so these numbers do not include all of those students who are reclassified. So you go to the next slide, you'll see the growth of our students once they have a target level of English. And so, you know, some districts like to keep the students a little longer as English learners and not reclassify them, because then those numbers on the previous slide look much better. But for our district, we've been committed to getting as many students into that reclassification range as possible, because we know when we go to middle school, if they're not reclassified by the time they leave us, they're not going to get those electives when we get to the middle school. They're going to be tracked into English language development courses instead. And it's really hard to get out once you get into the middle school and the high school. So thank you for all the work, and I know Kathy, I've heard about, and the whole team, and the work at the school sites. And then to your question or your comment, Trustee Lopez, wondering about what does dual immersion look like? When our students are learning English and Spanish, we also know that when they're in third grade, fourth grade, they're still learning the language. When they get to fifth and sixth grade, they still have a learning everybody when they're learning in two languages. And when we look at our reclassification rates for grades 5 and 6, that's when you start to see some of that magic. So those are, a lot of those students are reflected in our dual immersion program. So thank you to Dr. Lopez and the Kimball staff too, and our girls dual immersion are until.
comment because the other thing is LPAC test is taken in January and February. So it's taken in the middle of the year, right after we get back from a major break. I have wondered about that granted, I don't want to load all the tests at the end of the year for the kids. That's no fun for anybody. But when you are basically saying, here's half a year of school, and now you've had 3 weeks off, come back and take this test because that's what the state tells us to do. It's amazing the ground that our kids cover. So thanks. All right. Okay. All right, item 10B is to conduct a public hearing regarding adjusting the schedule of instruction for the 2025-2026 extended school year. Dr. Filio, would you speak to that, please?
Yes, so this is a hearing to receive comments on this annual required step that will allow for us to offer an ESY or extended school year program for our identified special ed students. Because National's year-round calendar, we would need to request to adjust that ESY offering to be held over 14 days with the adjusted longer hours instead of the 20 days described by the California Code of Regulations.
And this is because of our shortened summer, correct? Do we have any speakers to this issue? No. There's questions from the board. Trustee Lopez.
Can you clarify what this past summer, was it the full 5 days or 4 days? Or can you clarify what the change is in terms of the actual date and the week? What does that look like?
So I think typically the day would be, 3 hours. So this would be over the course of 14 days, then the hours would be 5.75 hours. So it's kind of longer hours, less days.
So this is not a change this year. It's something that, every single year we bring this to the board for consideration. Because if we do it the same way, we don't have enough time to get in all of the hours. And still students get a little bit of a break. And so it's same amount of hours, but rather is less days instead of the required, I think it's like set in our code for 20 days. Yeah, it's an 80-hour total, but we do it in less days. But this is something we regularly ask the board for consideration of.
Trustee Bettencourt-Castaneda.
Is it something that we can just change without having to do every year going forward, or it's mandated that we have to do every single year? And I know that every year we do the same thing. It just like it should just obviously so this is getting know so that way it just doesn't show confusion and just for transparency reasons.
It is an ed code thing based on most of California having the old school start at the end of August and finish the beginning of June and have 10 weeks off in the summer.
And also, this is a public hearing to give our parents who may be affected by this an opportunity to speak to this and weigh in on it. So, if it was just a procedural thing, we could put it in consent, but because we want to be able to gather input from our community, we'll put it out as a public hearing if people want to speak to it.
Is it possible that we can write in the description that we have to do this annually? So that way it would be more transparent and clear, so that way it doesn't appear that we are just doing this as a one-off?
Sure, we can work on that revision.
Okay, thank you.
Any other thoughts? All right, the public hearing is closed. Item 10C to adopt resolution 25-26.31 to adjust the extended school year session schedule. Do I have a motion? Anything to add? All right, I have a motion to adopt by trustee Bettencourt-Castaneda and a second by trustee Lopez. Please vote. All right, item 11 is human resources. We have nothing for the evening. Item 12 is business services. Item 12A to approve CT 4340 with GEM Industrial Electric Incorporated. Do I have a motion? Dr. Cochran.
Thank you, President Gates. So this action item is for the approval of GEM Industrial Electrical Inc. to provide interior finishing of Building B here at the district office. Back in August, I carefully explained that this is not a district office remodel of any kind. We are correcting a room in which we currently have employees working that is missing walls. It has exposed electrical sockets and wiring and exposed insulation, and it is not an appropriate environment where employees should be working. The board at that time authorized a bid advertisement back in August. Bidding has been conducted, and GEM Industrial was the lowest responsive bid. Approval of this item authorizes them to contract this work.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to approve CT 4340 by trustee Lopez with a second by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda. Please vote. All right, item 13 is board cabinet communications. Trustee Lopez.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to our Las Palmas students for being here this evening, sharing about their STEM pen pal. So great to hear how they're connecting with the world. That's awesome. Pen pals all over the world. And I hope they get those cool gifts that they want. Also want to say welcome again to Pauline Washington, Hannah Salazar, and Carla Gonzalez to our district. And congrats again to Genesis Baza for being our MC volunteer of the month. Please send us the hats links so we can get some too. And then also want to say thank you to Sweetwater High School for having me participate in the homecoming parade. Congrats to the new queen on your coronation, and congrats to the football team for winning. It was nice to ride with my colleagues on that day. Excited for the next year. And that is all. Pretty short. Thank you.
Trustee Sarmiento.
I have similar comments, but I also want to add, I'd like to request a presentation on the GAY program, knowing that at one time during the testing, we had that anomaly, and the students, I understand, have all been retested now, and would like to hear about how that turned out. Also, I just want to convey my condolences to former board member Larry Tagle. I understand his wife passed away.
Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
Thank you. I also would like to congratulate our Las Palmas students on their presentation. And yes, hopefully they will receive cool gifts. And also Ms. Trzynski for her involvement in her leadership in the program. Also Genesis Pais for her volunteer of the month. I know it takes a lot of time from her family, and for her participation and being a part of the Las Palmas family. Welcome to our new employees, to the NSD family. And thank you, Dr. Zonier, for your wonderful presentation. I saw the packet and I got a little scared, but you were very thorough, and you actually were rather quickly, but it was very, very well presented. So thank you. So it got me out of my shock. But no, thank you so much. It was very, very well presented, and I appreciate all the information. I was very, very impressed. So thank you. Thank you also, yes, for Sweetwater High School for inviting us to their homecoming, and I also was able to be a part of their assembly on Friday, and Olive Wood had their students, their writing contest winners there. I was able to witness their presentation. So it's always a pleasure to be there with our students there. So, and good thing they won, because that's a rivalry game. So sorry, whoever is rooting for the other team, I won't mention. So, and those who are able to witness the fireworks. So with that being said, thank you everybody who stayed. I hope I didn't pressure you. So but thank you for being here and have a wonderful evening. Oh, and happy Halloween.
I forgot something to add. Happy early birthday to Trustee Betancourt Castaneda.
Happy birthday.
Trustee Avalos.
Well, here it goes. First of all, I want to thank our children from Las Palmas School. They did a great job in presentations, and we're not afraid to do public speaking here. You know, that's really hard for any child to do that, and I think that, Ms. Walker, thank you so much for all your hard work that you do there at Las Palmas School. And of course, Genesee Baza, to be our volunteer, and for her husband and her children to say, hey, there you go again, you're not gonna stay home. But she had that passion and that wonderful ideas, and that's, and I want to thank any family member that goes and volunteers. That is a great thing to do. I did a lot of it and I really enjoyed it. I want to welcome to our new employees. I know a lot of them couldn't be here, but we are welcome you into our family here. And thank you, Mrs. Laura Filda, for a wonderful presentation. My goodness gracious. Our progress in our schools, thank you so much to our educators, our teachers, and our superintendents, I mean, our principals that are behind that. You know, that was really good news, and it was very thorough. Thank you for all your hard work in putting it together. It was wonderful. And happy birthday, Mrs. Maria Betancourt Castaneda. Another birthday. So, and thank you all for being here. This is probably the first time we've had so many people say. It must have been a good meeting. An interesting meeting for everyone to still be here and listen to what the progress our board has done. And thank you so much. And Mr. Crockett, you too, you've always done a great job in everything you do. Thank you.
Dr. Cocker.
Thank you. Ms. Betancourt Castaneda, happy birthday. Hope it's a special one. Wanted to say thank you so much to the students and staff of Las Palmas for that presentation this evening. Great job on the presentation. Really enjoyed listening to your student leaders share with us tonight. Had the opportunity to attend a mini conference of the California School Business Association officials here in town. It was very local and just a short day meeting. And I would just like to share that there's a little bit of a mixed messaging at the state level. There are some messages that state revenues are performing higher than expected. There's also messaging saying that they're anticipating shortfalls, budgetary shortfalls from what the state will provide us in the upcoming year, and potential for things like lower COLAs than what they were anticipating. So although, you know, those things aren't fun to share, I think they're important to share. And so I wanted to share that with the board and the community. Would also like to echo Dr. Filia. Thanks and congratulations on a great report. And really want to thank our school leaders and our teachers and our staff who have done so much tremendous work. And it's so evident how proud the community is of the work that's been done. So thank you so much. And I would also just like to say thank you to Mr. Denegri. We had a great visit at El Toyon this past Tuesday. Like Ms. Avalos explained, usually by this time, we don't have our school leaders still here, you know, but since you're here, I want to thank you for a great visit to El Toyon and a good walk around the campus and your hospitality. Thank you.
Dr. Kevin.
Okay, everyone already said what I had on my list. But I'll go through it again. Okay, I want to congratulate our new employees. Congratulations to Ms. Trzynski's class for their presentation. It's nice to know that they're learning, they're writing, and it's exciting to get those letters. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to Ms. Baza, and thank you for all you do at Las Palmas. We definitely know it's, you know, time consuming and a sacrifice to volunteer, and just really appreciate her efforts. Thank you to Dr. Filia for her presentation and for all the staff really that took the time to do all of that hard work throughout the year. It really takes a village, and we want to see, we know that it classified, our management team, our certificated team, everybody puts that effort to ensure that our students are successful. I want to say happy birthday to Trustee Betancourt Castañeda, and then also I was going to thank El Toyon for hosting us this week. Thank you, Mr. Denegri. Have a good evening.
Dr. Fuddy.
Yes, so I just wanted to say we have the first group out at sixth grade camp right now. So we just want to wish our students a wonderful learning experience out there, and a huge thank you to our staff who are accompanying them and spending the night at Camp Cuyamaca. So currently we have Central, Kimball, Lincoln Acres, and Olive Wood schools that are out there, and then the next group will go in December.
Dr. Brady.
All right, well, I have to say it's really weird to hear the board talking about hiring a superintendent. So I'm just gonna say that. But I do appreciate the conversation tonight and the volunteering for the behind the scenes work. And I do have confidence that the board will do a thorough job in picking somebody that's going to support the great work that's happening in our school district. I think I already said it about the presentation tonight, and as I was thinking about it, I was struck by how many multiple measures you were able to share in a pretty fast amount of time. And when we go to the doctor, for example, we don't just take our blood pressure. They might draw some blood work, they might weigh us, they might look at our chart and see where we were last year, where we are now, what our goals are, talk to us. And so it's really nice to be able to share the story of the work that's being done for multiple measures. And one of the ways that we've been doing that is through the profile of a national school district learner. And we've been able to identify the outcomes with the help of our board, our parents, our staff, our students. A lot of input went into that. And right now we're working with a guiding coalition of diverse groups. So we have our special educators, we have our general education teachers, we have primary teachers, upper grade teachers, administrators, working together, going out, doing empathy interviews with students, with parents, with our classified staff. We really reached out to try to find out what shifts do we have to make to continue to get the results you saw tonight, but also to see those outcomes that we want to achieve on the profile of a learner, which aren't always those statistical scores that we're seeing, but also how our students show up every day, how they treat each other, how they're ready to impact the world. And we saw a little bit of evidence in the Las Palmas presentation tonight about how our students are actually interacting with scientists in the world and showing how they want to grow up and how that's influencing their future dreams and passions and then their dedication to school. So just thank you to everybody involved in the Guiding Coalition, whether giving your input or giving those days to be part of that conversation. I want to thank the City of National City and Trustee Lopez for bringing the planting of the trees to our roundtable students. As we know, we're working on achieving the goals of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and we have taught our students about climate action. And so to be part of a solution of planting 1,600 trees over the course of the next 5 years to really create that tree canopy here in National City, it really gives our students purpose. And so they had a great time. And principals, since you're all sitting here, the students will be coming to you to identify areas around your schools where in February we can plant more trees on all of our campuses in National City in February. So, and we'd love to have our board come out and be part of those planting days. And for those of you attending Salute to Navy tomorrow, thank you, and please pass along a big thank you for the service to our sailors. Unfortunately, we have a conflict with Soup Tank for the Classroom of the Future Foundation, and so we'll be at USD, but thank you for those who are able to make it in celebration of the service of our Navy. Thank you.
All right. And along with everyone, I'm sorry, I have a flashing light. Yes, trustee Sarmiento.
I apologize, but this is important. It was something I forgot to share. I don't know when, a couple years ago, I made a note of this quote that was given to us by Ashley Krasinski, where she said, "Every child deserves an exceptional teacher." I just want to share that.
Dr. Brady.
Sorry. And the last one it was happy early birthday. Trustee Redford has to go.
Trustee Andrews.
You know, as I said thank you to all our principals, I want to say something. Over there, sitting in the third row, Mrs. Beverly Hills. Hayes, ever since I became a board member, which was what, 15 years ago, you always came to every board meeting and you stayed till the very end.
No pressure.
Oh, just let you all know. that we do have a principal that's still, well, I know you're not principal anymore, but thank you for coming and enjoying our meetings. We love to have you here and staying here.
He's not pressuring anybody. And we're assuming you're enjoying the meeting.
I am.
So, well, if you're gonna do that, then fine. Ms. Benitez for second grade for Michaela. Mrs. Hayes for Anthony and Carissa. And Carissa was fourth, fifth, and sixth, and Anthony was second through fifth. And Mr. Sanchez, pretty much for Michaela for most of it. So I love coming through. I love when I actually get to look out and go, oh, look, those are the people who've spoken into my kids' lives and are responsible for the kind of people they are.
Okay, I will Ms. Hayes.
This is definitely the Mutual Appreciation Association. At least we're appreciating you. And you'll appreciate us more if we quit talking. So, thank you to Ms. Jasinski and the Las Palmas kids for coming. It was fun to chat with them ahead of time. And you know, Josh, I will just tell you the truth. Hurry up to become a dental hygienist. Mine has a hand like a hammer, and I'm telling you, we need some nice people out there in those roles. Much more gentle ones. We had a board workshop last week, and it was good to get together and discuss, hear from, see eye to eye and not see eye to eye, with care and respect. That I am thankful for. So thank you to all of you for the extra time, Dr. Brady, that requires of us, but which is important for us as we move forward. I told Trustee Lopez not too long ago, it's a weird job because we aren't supposed to chat. And yet we decide some very important things with our limited knowledge of one another, and we have to work on some levels of trust as we come up here. And so these extra moments like the board workshop, which are appropriate places for us to have chats, give us the opportunity to hear the heart of our other board members, or at least it does for me. So I'm thankful for the commitment that the board made to that. Definite shout out for our teachers, our aides, our ELD intervention specialists, our ed specialists, and everyone in ed services and all the people I miss for what you put in every day that has been showing growth. And I know that because this is just the way you are, this is good, but you're still looking for ways to make it better. So thank you for that. And a last note from me to you, December camp at Cuyamaca. Don't forget extra socks. And the year that Anthony went, it snowed, and he had the one buddy who fortunately Anthony was small enough to share clothes with, because we packed for snow and his buddy packed for beach. So to family and friends, as you send off your children to camp, check the weather. And we're done. Oh, we do have a cake. So hopefully if you are